awakening the philosopher within. There's a moment in every life when fear takes the stage. It's not loud, it's quiet, almost sacred. The pulse before a decision, the silence before you leap. And in that stillness, one question whispers, will you let fear define you or refine you? In the 19th century, a man named Friedrich Nietzsche walked through storms of thought darker than most could bear. He lost his health, his sanity, his friends, but gained something far rarer, a way to look fear in the eye and smile. Nietzsche didn't write for the timid. He wrote for the soul that struggles, for the one who still believes that life, with all its chaos, can be loved completely. Today, we'll explore 5 ways to overcome fear, inspired by Nietzsche's philosophy, not by avoiding pain, but by transforming it. Section 1. Change your perspective about fear. Nietzsche once said, "Fear is the mother of morality." At first, this sounds strange, even unsettling. How could something as paralyzing as fear be the mother of morality, the source of what we call right and wrong? But Nietzsche's point runs deep. He believed that much of what we call morality doesn't come from wisdom or compassion. It comes from fear, fear of punishment, fear of rejection, fear of standing alone against the world. When people are afraid, they obey. They cling to rules and traditions, not because they truly believe in them, but because they're terrified of what might happen if they don't. Nietzsche described this dynamic as 2 opposing moralities, slave morality and master morality. Slave morality grows out of weakness. It values humility, meekness, and obedience. It's the morality of survival, born from the desire to avoid pain and keep the peace. It says, be small, be safe, don't stand out, because standing out might mean being punished, mocked, or left alone. But master morality, that's the morality of strength. It values courage, independence, and the power to create one's own path. It doesn't seek approval, it seeks authenticity. It doesn't obey out of fear, it acts out of purpose. And when fear arises, Nietzsche doesn't tell us to suppress it. He asks us to study it, to hold it up to the light and ask, where does this fear come from? Is it real, or is it something I've been taught to believe? Imagine someone terrified of public speaking. Their heart races, hands tremble, words dry up before they even begin. To them, it feels like standing before an invisible jury, one wrong word away from humiliation. Nietzsche would not simply tell them to be brave. He would ask, what are you really afraid of? Is it the crowd itself, or the judgment in their eyes? Is it the act of speaking, or the possibility of failing? Because often, what frightens us most is not the event itself, but the story we've built around it. When you start to examine that story, you might discover that fear is not a wall blocking your way, but a mirror reflecting your deepest insecurities. It shows you exactly where you still need to grow. So take small steps. Speak first to a few trusted friends. Join a small group. Share your ideas. Little by little, you expand your circle of courage. Each time you face the discomfort, you steal a little of fear's power and turn it into your own. Because fear, when reframed, is not the enemy of growth. It's the forge that shapes it. Nietzsche's wisdom reminds us, fear doesn't always mean stop. Sometimes it's simply life whispering, this is where you begin. Section 2. Overcome yourself, the will to power. Nietzsche once wrote the words that have echoed through centuries. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. A phrase so often repeated, it's become cliché. Yet for Nietzsche, it wasn't a slogan. It was a philosophy, a challenge to the human spirit. At the heart of his worldview lies a single, powerful idea: the will to power. The will to power is not merely about dominance or control. It's not the thirst to rule others, but the inner drive to rule oneself. Nietzsche saw it as the fundamental energy of life itself, the invisible current that pushes every living thing to grow, to expand, to become more than what it was yesterday. It's the will to rise after falling, to turn pain into strength, to take the chaos within and forge it into creation. Imagine someone afraid of vulnerability. They build walls around themselves, walls of humor, silence, or distance, because deep down they fear being hurt, rejected, or misunderstood. Nietzsche would see this not as weakness, but as a starting point. He would say, "Here is your mountain, climb it." To practice the will to power, they must first look inward, ask why that fear exists, and what power it's hiding behind it. Then begin to act slowly, deliberately. Share a thought, reveal a feeling, allow someone to see you, not the mask. Each small act of courage is a rebellion against fear. Each moment of honesty is a step toward mastery. Nietzsche believed that by confronting difficulty, we don't just survive hardship, we transform through it. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every failure is raw material for our becoming. To live without challenge is to never awaken the strength within. He wrote not for comfort, but for those willing to struggle, those who understood that growth only happens at the edge of what terrifies us. So, to practice the will to power, set goals that make you nervous. Do the thing that feels just out of reach. Enter the space that scares you. Not recklessly, but with intention. Because power isn't found in dominance. It's found in discipline, in the ability to act even when afraid, to keep moving even when the path is steep. The will to power is about self-overcoming. Each day, the question is not, am I better than others, but, am I stronger, wiser, truer than I was yesterday? Nietzsche reminds us that true strength isn't born from safety, it's forged in struggle. The person who dares to face discomfort gains something far greater than comfort. They gain freedom. Overcoming yourself is not a single moment. It's a lifelong dialogue between who you are and who you could be. So the next time fear whispers, remember, it's not there to stop you. It's there to test you, to ask whether the strength within is ready to rise. Section 3. Challenge herd mentality. Think beyond the crowd. We live in a world that rewards belonging, to fit in, to agree, to stay safe inside the circle. But Nietzsche warned us, the individual has always had to struggle, to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. It sounds poetic, but behind that poetry lies a warning sharp as glass. Because when you stop thinking for yourself, the crowd starts thinking for you. He called it the herd mentality, a way of living where comfort replaces courage and conformity replaces creation. The herd says, don't question too much, don't stand out, just do what everyone else does. It feels safe, but safety, Nietzsche reminds us, is the slowest form of self-destruction. When you always move with the crowd, you forget why you started walking at all. Imagine a young artist. They post their work online, but it doesn't get many likes. They scroll, compare, copy, adjust. Soon, their art looks like everyone else's, polished, acceptable, forgettable. Nietzsche would shake his head. He'd say, you have become part of the herd. Because the moment you create for approval, you lose the wild spark that made you, you. To escape that trap, you must dare to be misunderstood. Think of Galileo. Everyone called him a heretic for saying the earth moves. Think of Van Gogh, laughed at, rejected, dying in poverty. Or think of the person who says no when the world demands yes. Nietzsche believed that true creators, the free spirits, must be willing to walk alone. He called them the higher men, those who do not seek validation, but transformation, because the herd's comfort is a cage, and the moment you step outside that cage, you rediscover your strength. To challenge herd mentality, start small. Question habits you never question. Ask why you follow the trends you follow, why you believe what everyone else believes. Notice how often your actions are guided, not by conviction, but by fear of standing out. Every time you notice that pause is power. That pause is the beginning of thinking for yourself. Nietzsche wrote about becoming the Mensch, not a perfect being, but a person who creates their own values. Instead of borrowing them, the Mensch doesn't ask, what will people think? But instead, what do I truly believe is right? That question is uncomfortable because it leaves you alone, without the shelter of collective approval. But in that solitude, you discover clarity, and in that clarity, you find freedom. Challenge the herd not out of arrogance, but out of authenticity. The goal isn't to rebel for rebellion's sake, but to think deeply, live consciously, and create from your own truth, because the crowd will always move. But only those who dare to stand still can see where it's going. So next time you feel pressure to conform, remember Nietzsche's whisper: the higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. Section 4. Embrace the chaos. Amor, Fati. There's a moment in every life when things fall apart. A job disappears. A relationship fades. A dream you carried for years slips through your fingers. And in that silence, that chaos, we ask, why? Why me? Why now? Why this pain? Nietzsche had an answer. He called it Amor Fati, the love of one's fate. To love your fate doesn't mean pretending everything is good. It means embracing reality as it is, even when it burns. Nietzsche believed that to live fully, you must stop wishing for a different past and start transforming the one you already have. Because pain, loss, and disappointment, they are not interruptions to your path. They are the path, he wrote. My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Imagine you've trained for years to achieve something, a career, a dream project, a vision of who you wanted to become, and then, suddenly, it collapses. You're left staring at the pieces. Most people curse fate, blame circumstance, or retreat into bitterness. But Nietzsche would ask, what if this, too, is necessary? What if every failure is an unseen lesson? Every heartbreak, a hidden sculptor, carving you into the person you're meant to be. To say Amor Fati is to stop fighting reality and start dancing with it. Amor Fati doesn't mean passive acceptance. It's not saying, oh well, that's life. It's saying, this is my life, and I will make it art. Every scar becomes part of your design. Every loss becomes a brushstroke on your canvas. Every mistake becomes a teacher, whispering, grow from this. Think of a blacksmith. He places metal into the fire, not to destroy it, but to strengthen it. In the same way, chaos refines us. Without it, we stay soft, brittle, untested. But when we endure it, when we embrace it, we emerge sharper, truer, unbreakable. Nietzsche's wisdom here isn't cold, it's courageous. He doesn't tell us to enjoy pain, but to find meaning through it, to see that the worst day of your life may be the day your real life begins. To practice Amor Fati in the modern world is to stop asking why me, and start asking what now. When something goes wrong, don't rush to escape it. Sit with it, listen. Ask what this moment is trying to teach you. The question is not how to avoid chaos, but how to move through it with grace. Every setback carries seeds of transformation. Every ending contains the shape of a new beginning. When you say Amor Fati, you are saying yes, not just to the easy parts, but to all of it. The love, the loss, the struggle, the triumph. It's a vow. I will not curse my story. I will honor it, all of it, because it made me who I am. So next time life breaks your plans, don't ask for the storm to pass. Stand in the rain, breathe, and whisper, Amor Fati. I will love even this, because in that moment, you stop fighting life and start becoming part of its rhythm. Section 5. Become who you are, the eternal return. At the end of all his writings, after all the struggles, all the questions, Nietzsche left us with one final challenge. He called it the eternal return. He imagined a demon coming to you one night and whispering, "This life you are living now, every joy, every sorrow, every moment of laughter and pain, you will have to live it again, over and over, for eternity." He asked, would you collapse in despair, or would you smile and say, yes, once more? The eternal return is not about time loops or fantasy. It's a mirror, asking you whether you are living in such a way that you'd want to live it again. Are you creating a life you would choose, or just one you're enduring? To Nietzsche, this was the ultimate test of authenticity, not a punishment, but a challenge. If you would dread to live your days again, then somewhere you are not living as yourself. But if you could look at your choices, your scars, your imperfections, and still whisper yes, then you've found something immortal. That yes is the sound of a life well lived. All the lessons come together here. Fear was the gate. Self-overcoming was the climb. Defying the herd was freedom. Embracing chaos was transformation. And now, becoming who you are is the summit. Because the goal of life isn't to become someone else. It's to strip away everything false, until what's left is you, raw, wild, real. Nietzsche wrote, "Become who you are." Simple words. Yet, behind them lies a lifetime of courage. To become who you are means facing the truth that comfort will never fulfill you. It means accepting that struggle is not a mistake, but the path toward greatness. You stop waiting for the world to give you meaning, and you start creating it yourself. Each decision, each act of courage, each moment of honesty becomes a brushstroke in the portrait of your life. When you live that way, you no longer need to escape time, because every moment feels infinite. So when the demon comes to you in the night and asks, "Would you live this life again?" may you answer without hesitation, yes, again and again, because then your existence is not a cycle of suffering. It's a masterpiece of meaning. That is Nietzsche's gift to us. Not despair, but fire. Not nihilism, but creation. He didn't tell us to worship life's beauty. He told us to become its beauty. To say yes to everything, even the darkness. Because only then do we truly shine. So live deliberately, think bravely, love your fate, overcome yourself, and when you face fear, don't run from it. Look straight into it and say, I see you. You are my teacher. Now watch me rise.